I really, really appreciate you taking this call, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever we see people who have success, we obviously want to record it. And I actually have some interesting questions that I want to ask you that could potentially help some of our other clients
Yeah,
as
sure.
well, and how you're handling deals. So I'll just start it off. So we'll just start off the interview. It'll be really short. It's about like 5 or 6 questions. So
Hey, that works, man.
talk about your experience and all that good stuff. So we'll start now. So thanks so much for joining the interview with us, Cody. Just for our viewers that'll be watching this video, would you mind telling us a little bit about what your occupation is and where you're based out of?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a loan officer out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over here on the East Coast.
Nice.
We're here locally in South Carolina. We've got a base kind of all over nationwide, but as far as our branch, our office, we're out of South Carolina here. We handle Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and Wilmington for the most part.
Awesome. How long have you been a mortgage broker for?
I'm closing in on my second year.
Second year.
Yep. So a little bit new to the game still. But as far as the industry goes, I've got some experience in the industry for about 5 years now.
Okay. What was that experience? Were you a loan originator first, or?
In my previous job, I basically did the same paperwork as loan officer. It was just, we didn't have to be licensed for that one. They were licensed out as the company. So they handled all the licensure and stuff like that. So, as far as that goes, it basically all the same stuff. Of course, we weren't sourcing our stuff. It was all sourced for us, just coming in, filing it, making sure everything was right.
Why don't you walk me through, your typical day as a mortgage broker before you started working with us? What did that day consist of?
A lot of phone calls. Still a lot of phone calls, but in a good way now, as far as the lead sourcing and things like that go. Before, I'd spend probably 9 a.m. to 12 just making phone calls, being on the phone, connecting with potential calls, leads. We've used previous lead generation services before. It takes 5 or 6 phone calls to sometimes get those leads on the phone. So spend the rest of the half trying to, connect with agents, make other contacts, things like that. Busy, to say the least.
Right. So what would you say your day looks like now after working with us?
Now I spend a little bit more time focusing on some things I want to do outside of the day-to-day. We just got a client recently. He happens to be a vice president for a community college here. So expanding into that to help, further help people who may not have the greatest credit understand how to buy a mortgage and what the steps are to do that. So branching out in a different area as opposed to just, marketing for home mortgages. It also gives me the time to connect more with more agents. With our industry, it is purely connection and communication. So having that time now freed up to dive into, 2 other agents for that day is making a big impact, freeing up that time.
Good. Yeah. And I remember, I know the reason we wanted to speak to you is last time we spoke to you, I think you had 23 appointments, but you had 15 applications, which is like incredible.
Yeah. So after I talked to you, I counted, it actually ended up being 17.
Oh my gosh. Out of 23 appointments. And we weren't even at your 30 appointment total yet for that month. So that's pretty incredible. So obviously you have a very, high conversion rate, which is also a reason why I wanted to get you on this call. Common things that we run into with inexperienced brokers, for example. Obviously, as you know, we target statistically high credit occupations, right? Teachers,
Yep.
doctors, nervous, but people get a little nervous because the person on the other end of the phone, sometimes they're just fishing for a deal, right? So they'll say, hey, I saw this, I'm calling you about the healthcare program, and, it's a payment assistance program where they'll try and go for some payment assistance things sometimes, even though it didn't say that on the ad. How do you normally handle those calls when people tell you that they're calling about a program? Because you and I both know it's not a government program, right? We're talking about our marketing initiatives. So how do you transition that into like a normal call? I know most people will kind of just say, they'll treat it the same way and say, yeah, look, I know what you're talking about, but I need a little bit more information from you. And then they'll just go into their normal pitch. But I mean, what are you doing to convert these people and having such a high conversion rate?
I mean, first and foremost, me personally, I'm not going to fill out anything or talk to anybody if I don't have your trust, right?
Right.
So for me, it's just building that rapport, taking the first few minutes to figure out where they are in the process. Are they just starting? Do they just need a couple questions answered? What are they looking for to get out of this phone call? You know, for me, it's a bigger picture as opposed to just getting an application, getting a loan turned in and getting it closed. It's how do I help as many people as possible get into a home? So finding that problem and then creating a solution and letting them be part of that solution is huge.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a healthcare situation, okay, great. There are a bunch of different loan programs. There's a bunch of different grant programs based on the state that you're in. But most of the time, income cuts those off. Same thing with the USDA loan. There's income limits. So if you're making enough money already, fortunately, that's a good thing. But we can't get you into a down payment assistance program. But let me tell you exactly what we do have, and you let me know which one that works best for you.
Yeah.
You know, spending that extra 5 minutes on the phone with them. I mean, the appointments we set up, they're 30-minute slots. You know, I don't need the whole 30, but I'm going to take as much as I can to figure out how we can get them worked out. But taking that extra 5 minutes, finding what's going on, what kind of questions they have, get those answered, build that trust, and then reaching out after the phone call. You know, there's been a couple times where hey, I'm going to fill out the application. I don't see anything the next couple of days, so I just touch base with them. Hey, just make sure you didn't have any questions. Actually, I did have a question. The application wants me to put a specific property in there. I don't have a property that I want to look at. Perfect. Leave it blank. Just put the city and zip code that you're looking
Right.
for, and we'll go from there. So
Right.
it might just be a little thing like that. But if, you know, if I'm not listening, I'm not paying attention to what their needs are, I'll never know that.
Right. And
But just letting them kind of explain it.
you're completely implementing the exact type of sales that we do for our company, which is solution selling, right? You
Yep.
identify the pain and the problem and give them a solution to that issue. And it's funny, you know, a lot of some MLOs, it just doesn't occur to them to do that. So, you know, for any of our clients or any of our future clients that are going to be listening to this, that is how you want to handle the call, right? You want to handle the call by asking questions and giving them a solution to their problem, and also educating them, right? Educating them on the process. How much potential revenue would you say, or volume would you say, we added to your pipeline in that first month?
We don't have anything closing yet, but I've got 5 clients who are looking to purchase within the next 2 months. They had a few things they needed to get. One had to pay one credit card off that was like $500.
Right.
So once we get that paid off, we can move forward on that. Between those 5, I'd say probably at least $1 million in the pipeline. And that's just the first month.
Awesome.
For me, it's even bigger than that, because now my name gets to get tied across the state. Most of the time they don't have an agent, so I can reach out to that agent. As long as I do what I'm saying I can do on my end, guess who they're going to come back to me later on.
Right. And then hold on, you froze
Phenomenal.
up a little bit. Yeah. No, absolutely. And then I hope the other thing that you're doing is leveraging the leads that you have, right? Because we identify if every single lead is working with a realtor or not. So not only are you going to be connected with them through the lead, but you're going to say, hey, I got 50 more like this, right? That you'll be able to.
Exactly.
So yeah, huge
Yep.
advantage. A lot of our clients, their realtor network expands tenfold after working with us. Let me ask you this, because you know another common question people ask: well, how quickly will I be able to start getting appointments on my calendar or seeing results? How quickly after we launched your campaign did you start seeing appointments?
It was probably quicker than anticipated. I think I got off the phone with you guys on a Thursday. He said, you know, give us a couple days to get things set up. By Saturday morning, I already had 2 scheduled for Monday morning. So the cool thing about it is when you guys are scheduling, I'm able to go into the same calendar, connect it with what's on my phone and my laptop, my computer, sync it with what I'm doing at work, sync it with what I've got going on with my family. So if I've got my son's soccer game on a Friday
Right.
evening, I can punch out that, so nothing gets scheduled, which is huge. You know, it's almost working around my schedule, which makes it
Right.
even better.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the idea here. You know, we want you guys to have the freedom to pretty much do whatever you want. As long as you block it off on your calendar, we're fine. You know, we once had a guy where he booked his entire life on his calendar. Even things as small as walking his dog, he would block off time for it. So it was almost impossible to book, but we still booked him about 40 appointments in a month. So we're flexible. We can work around those scheduled times. So
Yeah.
Cody, last question. What would you say to anyone who is on the fence, working with us? Maybe they don't have the capital right now. What would you say to those guys?
Don't go 3 months later and ask yourself, why not? Why didn't I? I mean, just try it. For me, it was a return on investment just out of the gate with the, clients I'm going to gain, with the agents that I'm able to connect with outside of that. That in itself is huge. The leads that I'm getting in and setting up for pipelines down the road, that's a bonus. It's a win-win. So, for me, it was all right, are we going to do this? Do it and be glad you did it. Don't get 6 months down the road and be like, daggone, I wish I would have maybe tried it. It's working.
Awesome. And that also reminds me, one of the things that we're implementing, Cody, that you might be very interested in. I don't know if I spoke to you about this on the phone. We're incorporating a secondary follow-up. So before we would do all of the follow-up, and then it's a clean handoff to you, and that leads your responsibility. Obviously, when my clients have issues, those are my issues, right? Most of the people that leave Lincrest leave it because they'll say, hey, listen, it's nothing you guys did wrong. I'm just very overwhelmed because I have so many leads in my pipeline, and it's difficult for me to manage these with time organization and know when I need to reach out to who. So I need to take a break, and I need to catch up with these. Now what we're doing is we're making it very, very easy for you guys to just click and drag these people into a 1-month pipeline, a 3-month pipeline, a 6-month pipeline, and they'll be sent pre-application forms periodically throughout that time. And they'll actually, as soon as they're ready, when they say, let's say if somebody says, hey, call me in 5 months, around that 5-month mark, it'll automatically reach out to them. It'll give them a pre-application form. It'll also give them a link to your calendar so they can rebook an appointment and speak to you at that time. So we're going to make it super, super easy for everybody to just not even have to worry about the ones that say, hey, I'm not ready for another 6 months, or I'm not ready for another 5 months. You just simply drop them into a drip campaign, and they'll resurface in that amount of time. So that's something that's going to be unveiled probably within the next week or two. So I think that alone is going to be just making sure nothing falls into the cracks, right? Over time, it's going to be a snowball effect where you're just getting more and more and more.
Exactly. And I mean, that's huge. I mean, the number one problem, I think, with anybody is follow-up.
Right.
There's plenty of CRMs out there that are for following up. It's up to us to kind of put that in there to remind ourselves to reach out. So having that implemented automatically is huge. The 5 clients that I have now, they're not looking to purchase within, one's 2 months, one's 3 months, one is 5 months out. So being able to just connect on a regular basis and keep, in their head, and, as a reminder of, hey, I'm here. If you have any questions, reach out to me. That's what I'm here for.
Right. That's awesome. Awesome, Cody. Well, listen, Cody, I appreciate you taking the time. It's awesome to hear about, the success of your first month. And, like I said, we'll give you some extra appointments for doing this testimonial. So hopefully it'll get you even more of an ROI, and really appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys, everything that you're doing. I look forward to keep working with you.
Awesome, Cody. Talk to you soon. All right.
Alex, thanks, man.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.